We're here with Eddie Goldman, and it's the Miguel Cotto and Joshua Clottey fight that'll be taking place June 13th, the eve of the Puerto Rican Day Parade. And do you have any predictions here? What are your thoughts about this fight, Eddie?
There's a lot of drama going into this fight for some different reasons from usual fights. On the surface of it, it could be a really great fight. You have two of the top welterweights, guys who have been belt holders facing each other, guys who like to fight. They're not going to run away from each other, and they're both extremely tough. But for Miguel Cotto, who will be fighting in front of a largely adoring crowd coming from Puerto Rico, and the Puerto Rican community in and around New York City will be cheering him, there are a lot of extra challenges. And the shadow hanging over this fight is one of Antonio Margarito, who won't even be in the building. When Cotto was knocked out and basically had to quit against Margarito last year, that was his first defeat. Cotto came back against a relatively easy B-level opponent, Michael Jennings, earlier this year in Madison Square Garden, and he passed that test. But the question is he back? And of course, there's the hand wrap scandal with Margarito. Before Margarito's fight with Shane Mosley, his trainer was found to have been loading the gloves. They were putting substances in there that could be used to make plaster of Paris. They found that out. They didn't let him do that. And Shane Mosley, the underdog in the fight, knocked out Margarito, which led a lot of people to question, hey, when Margarito knocked out Cotto, was it just better skill, training, and discipline, or was there something in the gloves more than just his hands and the legal hand wrap?
Cotto always has a nice answer to that, though. He just feels that he'd like to think that was Margarita's and a good night for Margarita. So I think that's a very classic answer.
Bugging him. In addition, when
you don't think maybe he's over that?
No. because
Okay.
That's the part of the drama. When Clottey fought Margarito in Atlantic City, New Jersey, a couple of years ago, for the first several rounds, Clottey was winning the fight. But then Clottey actually suffered his own hand injury, and while he didn't stop the fight, he actually showed me his hands afterwards. Both of them, the knuckles were all discolored, and he couldn't fight the way that he really wanted to. But he wasn't knocked out by Margarito. So the question is, what would that mean for a healthy Joshua Clottey? Where does he stack up with a healthy Miguel Cotto? All that has to give a lot of confidence to Joshua Clottey.
And Clottey says his hands are fine right now. That's what he said. So he's
right.
and everything's okay, going straight ahead.
He's fought since then, and he's done well. So we're going to assume, injuries can happen to anybody. We're going to assume that his hands are going to be fine, and we're going to assume that Cotto has to expect his hands to be fine. That makes for a very dangerous fight for Miguel Cotto. On top of it, there were various news reports, which are more or less confirmed here, that Miguel Cotto and his uncle and longtime trainer, Evangelista Cotto, had a falling out. They're split. Evangelista Cotto, who's been with him for a long time, will not be in his corner. Cotto will be training in Florida. Evangelista,
but with the rest of the family, everybody else is on a team, just one man down.
Well, it's more than that. He'll be training in Florida instead of in his home country of Puerto Rico.
He said he didn't want the distraction.
Yeah, the question is, you go to Florida, I can think of a lot of distractions in Florida. It's not like he's going to the Poconos or Big Bear where there's nothing going on. So we don't know. There are all these questions. How is this going to affect Cotto? Having a different guy in his corner, not having his trusted uncle and trainer there in one of the toughest fights that he's had. Because even though Joshua Clottey is not as well known as Miguel Cotto or Sugar Shane Mosley or somebody like that, he's definitely one of the elite welterweights in the world. He's not as flashy. You don't hear the trash talk from him and all that. But he is tough as nails, and he has a legitimate chance of beating Miguel Cotto. Now, I'm not saying that as a prediction. I don't like to do predictions. But if Cotto is not at his best and Clottey is, Clottey could emerge victorious in this fight.